Hi, hello, I'm Virginie and I'm from Brussels in Belgium. I wanted to introduce some works that have really interested me into storytelling up to now. So I want to start with the well-known Stephen King. Here you have, it's in French, sorry, but in English you can find it under Danse Macabre. So it's an essay from himself reflecting on how we can construct horror stories and how horror stories have influenced film, cinema, music, everything, basically TV series and so on and so on. And it's really, really interesting because Stephen King is Stephen King, so he's really reflecting on how we create and how we like horror stories and what makes a good horror story. So it's really, really, really interesting, a really good read. I've also here Terry Pratchett. Some of you may know him as well. So here is The Science of Discworld 2, The Globe, and he's really reflecting in this book about how we perceive magic on the Discworld, and he makes really interesting points discussing about the fact that, I'm quoting, Discworld runs on magic, and magic is indissolubly linked to narrative causality, the power of story. A spell is a story about what a person wants to happen, and magic is what turns stories into reality. So he's really putting into words what you can have enjoyed in the rest of his books, and it's really, really interesting read. I'm still in the middle of it. I'm still reading it, and it's really, really, really fantastic. Really inspiring about why we like stories, because he's really reviewing humankind's history from when we were apes to now, basically, and why we like stories and why we tell stories, and how it helped shape the world as we know it and shape ourselves. I'm also pen and paper roleplay player, so I have here a French roleplay book. Is a really short book, as you may see, and everything is contained in it. Why am I mentioning roleplay books? Is because when you play pen and paper roleplay, the main role of the master of the game is really to introduce you to a world, to introduce you to a story. So basically those books are full of tips and hints and advices and background, history, characters, so everything you need to really know how to tell a good story. And I'm okay with the fact that it's really different telling a story to people, explaining a story, putting them in a story while playing, compared to telling a story where the receiver is passive, where the receiver won't have any chance to influence the action. Here it's really I've picked this one because they have a whole section, sorry, a whole section, so conseil is tips in French, where they really give you advices on how to plan, for example, for atmosphere, how to play, on references to our reality. It's really, really, really interesting, and roleplay books, even if you don't roleplay, are really, really interesting because they give you advice on how people receive stories and how you can bring them into stories and being interested and wanting to take part. And the last one is not a book, is a series I've been watching for quite a while now. Is actually the spin-off of Doctor Who. Voila. So it's the spin-off of Doctor Who, and the first seasons are not that interesting if you're not into that kind of series, but the third and fourth season are really focused on a big movie. So it's really one long story spanning through, I don't remember, 6 or 7 episodes, and it's really one of the most gripping story I've ever heard lately, and it was really well delivered. It was really what grasped me into storytelling by saying, how can a series have such an impact on myself? It was really a science fiction background, everything you want. It's not realistic, but the story it tells is really well delivered. It's really asking you questions about who you are and what society is about and how governments are and how politics are. And it's really, I won't spoil it because it's really amazing, and I really recommend you to have a look at it. Even if you're not interested in Doctor Who, even if you're not interested at all in the way those stories, in the events those story tells, but just to have a look at how they did it, because it's really gripping. I was really binge watching this because I wanted to know the hand, even if I guess it was gonna end happily, but I wanted to know how it will evolve, basically. So that's my take on storytelling, and I could talk for hours about books who inspired me. You could also have a look, and I really recommend to you to have a look at theorist Vladimir Pop, a Russian guy who analyzed Russian folk tales, and it's really interesting, even if it's not at all related to European culture or even American culture, but it's really interesting in seeing how stories are told, tales are told. Really have a look at it if you have time, or even just this Wikipedia page, because you'll see that it's really interesting. See you!